Every man wants to be desired. The secret isn't sleight of hand or dirty tricks. It's understanding human psychology and using it ethically to become more magnetic. When a woman chases you, she's not being weak or foolish. She's responding to clear signals, value, mystery, emotional rhythm, and leadership. Learn how to deliver those signals deliberately and with integrity, and you'll stop wasting time on dead-end pursuits. You'll attract women who are genuinely interested, not because you manipulated them, but because you became someone worth pursuing. This video gives you 5 powerful psychological tools that shift the dynamic from you chasing to her wanting to chase. These are practical, modern, and tested ideas. How to increase perceived value, balance presence and absence, trigger curiosity, build emotional resonance, and lead with confidence. Use them responsibly. Don't use psychology to coerce or deceive. Use it to become more attractive, self-assured, and desirable. You'll learn what to say and when to stay quiet, how to create emotional contrast without playing games, and how to project a life that naturally draws attention. These tricks boost your attractiveness because they tap into basic human drivers: security, novelty, challenge, and emotional reward, while keeping your dignity intact. If you apply these steps consistently, you'll notice a real change in the way women respond to you. More initiative from them, more anticipation, and more authentic attraction. 1. Increase perceived value. The first trick to making any woman chase you is increasing your perceived value. Women are naturally drawn to men who appear confident, successful, and socially competent. But value isn't just about money, status, or looks. It's about energy, behavior, and self-assurance. If you want her to pursue you, she must see you as someone worthy of her attention, someone who adds intrigue and stability to her life. Start with confidence. Confidence is visible in how you move, speak, and handle situations. Walk with purpose, maintain upright posture, and project calm energy. Avoid fidgeting or hesitating when engaging in conversation. Women instinctively notice when a man is secure in himself, and this security signals that he is high value. Confidence is contagious. When you project it consistently, she feels drawn to you without realizing why. Lifestyle signals also communicate value. Your life should appear interesting, full, and balanced. Share stories of your passions, accomplishments, and unique experiences subtly, without bragging. Let her see that your world is rich and engaging. This doesn't mean you need to oversell or exaggerate. Genuine contentment, hobbies, and social activity naturally signal worth. A man who's busy improving himself or exploring the world becomes a prize because he represents a life she wants to be part of. Competence in social settings is another form of value. How you handle interactions with friends, strangers, or service staff communicates character, leadership, and social intelligence. Women notice men who are respected by others and who navigate social dynamics effortlessly. This indirectly increases attraction because it signals reliability, status, and emotional control. Physical presentation plays a role too. Dress sharply, maintain good hygiene, and move with deliberate energy. Appearance isn't superficial. It's part of non-verbal communication that conveys self-respect and attention to detail. When a woman sees that you care about yourself, she perceives higher value, which naturally increases desire. Another key aspect is mystery. Don't reveal everything about yourself immediately. Keep some stories, thoughts, and plans subtle and understated. Mystery creates curiosity, making her invest mentally to understand you better. Women are drawn to men who are intriguing, confident, and independent. A man who maintains a life beyond her presence signals high value and triggers her interest. Finally, value is reinforced by emotional steadiness. Avoid overreacting to minor challenges, criticism, or ego-driven tests. Emotional control communicates that your energy isn't easily manipulated, which positions you as someone worth pursuing. Women instinctively respect and chase men who remain composed, confident, and self-sufficient. When all these elements combine, confidence, lifestyle richness, social competence, physical presence, mystery, and emotional stability, your perceived value skyrockets. She notices without conscious effort, and the dynamics shift. She becomes more curious, attentive, and willing to invest in your attention and time. High perceived value creates the psychological environment where attraction, pursuit, and genuine interest flow naturally. 2. Create emotional contrast. The second psychological trick to make a woman chase you is creating emotional contrast. Emotional contrast is the art of blending highs and lows in your interactions to generate intrigue, excitement, and desire. Humans are wired to respond to variation. Monotony feels safe but boring. When you create emotional contrast, you trigger her emotional curiosity and attraction, making her more invested in your presence and more likely to pursue you. Emotional contrast begins with energy control. During conversations, mix calm, grounded energy with moments of playful intensity or light teasing. For example, you might tell a captivating story with enthusiasm, then calmly comment on something unrelated with composure. This fluctuation keeps her attention and prevents interactions from feeling flat. The goal is not to confuse her, but to engage her emotionally, creating a sense of unpredictability that she finds exciting. Playfulness is a core tool for emotional contrast. Light teasing, witty remarks, or humorous observations trigger a psychological loop where she experiences challenge and reward simultaneously. For example, if she makes a playful jab at you, respond with a clever, confident retort. This dynamic signals that you are confident, quick-thinking, and socially intelligent. Women instinctively chase men who can stimulate their emotions in ways that feel fun, safe, and mentally engaging. Emotional contrast also involves balancing availability and absence. Being attentive and engaging in one moment, then calmly creating space in another, triggers desire. If you're always fully available and reactive, you create comfort but no tension, which reduces the chase. By selectively engaging and stepping back, you encourage her to notice your value, anticipate your attention, and invest effort into gaining it. Storytelling and emotional sharing amplify contrast. Share moments of passion, adventure, or vulnerability with intensity, then return to calm reflection or humor. This rhythmic ebb and flow creates psychological peaks and valleys, making her associate you with excitement and emotional stimulation. Women are naturally drawn to men who can evoke these emotional responses because it makes interactions memorable and rewarding. Nonverbal cues reinforce emotional contrast. Change your tone, facial expressions, and gestures to match shifts in energy. Smile lightly during calm moments, laugh openly during playful exchanges, and use confident body language during serious or intense points. Subtle changes in posture or gaze can dramatically impact her emotional perception, enhancing attraction without verbal manipulation. It's important to remain authentic. Emotional contrast is not about pretending to feel extremes you don't experience. It's about consciously modulating your energy, sharing genuine highs and lows in a way that keeps her engaged. Women detect authenticity, and fake emotional swings undermine trust and desire. Ultimately, emotional contrast keeps the interaction dynamic, stimulating, and compelling. By mixing calm presence with playful intensity, availability with strategic absence, and humor with genuine emotional depth, you create a psychological environment where she feels drawn to chase you.
Emotional contrast activates curiosity, excitement, and anticipation, ensuring that your presence is not just noticed, but desired.
Third trigger, curiosity. The third psychological trick to make a woman chase you is triggering curiosity. Curiosity is a powerful driver of human behavior. People are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand. When a woman feels intrigued by you, she invests mentally, emotionally, and sometimes physically, simply to uncover more about who you are. Creating curiosity is not about deception. It's about being interesting, mysterious, and unpredictable in ways that stimulate her mind and attention. Start by revealing yourself selectively. Avoid giving all the details of your life immediately. For example, if she asks about your weekend, you might say, "I had an interesting experience, but I'll tell you about it later." This small withholding creates a mental puzzle that she wants to solve. Curiosity grows when she senses depth, unique experiences, or perspectives she hasn't yet uncovered. Women are drawn to men who are self-contained yet hint at hidden layers because it creates anticipation and engagement. Stories and hints are effective tools. Share aspects of your life or personality without fully explaining them. For instance, you could mention a passion project, a travel adventure, or an unusual skill, then leave a pause that encourages follow-up questions. The goal is to spark interest without overwhelming her with information. By doing so, you become a puzzle she wants to solve, which naturally encourages pursuit. Behavioral cues also stimulate curiosity. Confidence, calmness, and unpredictability in your actions signal that there is more beneath the surface. Walk into a room with presence, engage selectively, and maintain a life outside of her attention. Women notice when a man is self-sufficient and has a rich life. This makes them curious about the man behind the confident exterior. When you live independently and intentionally, you create a magnetic pull that draws attention. Playful ambiguity is another method. Responding to questions with light humor, subtle teasing, or enigmatic answers creates intrigue. For example, if she asks what you do after work, a playful, "a few things you wouldn't expect," invites curiosity without giving full disclosure. This encourages her to ask follow-up questions, engage more deeply, and mentally invest in understanding you. Curiosity is amplified when paired with emotional contrast. If your energy shifts naturally between calm, playful, and confident, she experiences variation that triggers mental engagement. Humans are wired to seek closure when presented with incomplete information. This is the psychological principle behind curiosity. Women chase men who leave traces of mystery because pursuing understanding becomes rewarding and exciting. Finally, don't over-explain or force answers. Allow silence or subtle hints to do the work. Curiosity is fueled by gaps in perception, not by constant disclosure. When she senses depth and unpredictability, she will naturally chase to uncover more about you, emotionally and mentally. When applied correctly, triggering curiosity makes you mentally and emotionally irresistible. You create an interaction that is stimulating, memorable, and engaging, positioning yourself as a man worth pursuing without manipulation. Curiosity activates desire and keeps her attention focused on you, laying the foundation for deeper attraction. 4. Be selectively available. The fourth psychological trick to make a woman chase you is being selectively available. Availability is a subtle yet powerful factor in attraction. When a man is constantly present, always responding immediately, or overly eager to please, it communicates neediness and lowers perceived value. Conversely, a man who is selectively available creates a psychological tension that draws a woman in, encourages pursuit, and strengthens desire. The key is balance. You remain engaged and attentive, but not overly accessible or predictable. Selective availability begins with managing your time intentionally. Women are attracted to men who have a full, independent life. When you prioritize your goals, hobbies, and social circles, you communicate that your attention is valuable and not easily won. This does not mean ignoring her or being cold. It means showing that your life is complete and fulfilling without depending on her presence for validation. High-value men are busy, productive, and confident, and this energy naturally attracts women who want to invest in someone capable, self-sufficient, and in control. Communication patterns play a critical role. Avoid responding immediately to every text, call, or social media message. Instead, reply thoughtfully and with a subtle delay that maintains your presence without seeming desperate. A well-timed response conveys that you have options, confidence, and control over your attention, which makes her desire to engage with you more. Consistency is key. She should always know that you are responsive, but not always instantly available. Presence in person should be similar. Engage fully when together, but avoid over-communicating, oversharing, or following her every lead. Be attentive, but maintain your own rhythm and energy. Women notice when a man maintains composure and independence during interaction, which communicates strength and self-assuredness. When you are fully present in the moment, but not dependent on her for attention or validation, she feels a subtle pull to earn your engagement, increasing her pursuit behavior. Strategic absence is also powerful. After creating emotional connection or intrigue, stepping back briefly allows her to process the interaction and anticipate future engagement. This absence generates curiosity, highlights your value, and gives her space to miss you. The human mind often responds more strongly to what is temporarily unavailable, creating desire that wouldn't exist if you were always fully present. Finally, selective availability combines well with the other psychological tricks: emotional contrast, curiosity, and high perceived value. When a woman experiences dynamic energy, unpredictability, and a sense that your attention is earned, her interest intensifies. She begins to pursue you actively because she recognizes your value and the effort required to gain your presence. Being selectively available is not about playing manipulative games. It's about demonstrating self-respect, independence, and high-value energy. When done correctly, women feel motivated to invest in your attention, seek your company, and appreciate your presence. This dynamic naturally flips the script, making her the one chasing and increasing the strength of her attraction. 5. Lead with confidence. The fifth and final psychological trick to make any woman chase you is to lead with confidence. Confidence is one of the most magnetic traits a man can display. It signals security, decisiveness, and high-value presence. Women instinctively respond to men who can guide interactions, take initiative, and remain composed under pressure. Leading with confidence is not about being domineering or controlling. It's about taking responsibility for the energy, direction, and flow of the interaction in a way that naturally draws her toward you. Start with clarity of intent. Know what you want from the interaction, whether it's a casual conversation, a playful encounter, or building deeper attraction. Confidence begins with purpose. When you know your objectives and act intentionally, it communicates authority and self-assuredness. Women are attracted to men who know where they stand and are unafraid to pursue their goals while respecting boundaries. Verbal leadership is essential. Guide the conversation with calm, assertive statements rather than seeking approval or reacting to every comment. For example, instead of asking, "Do you want to go here?" say, "Let's go check out this place. It's perfect for what we discussed." This demonstrates initiative and decision-making without arrogance. Women are drawn to men who take charge thoughtfully, as it creates psychological safety and positions you as someone capable and dependable. Nonverbal cues amplify confidence. Maintain upright posture, relax shoulders, and deliberate gestures. Make steady, appropriate eye contact to show engagement and self-assurance. Avoid fidgeting, nervous movements, or reactive expressions, as these signal insecurity and reduce perceived value. Your body communicates as much as your words. Confident energy is palpable and contagious. Confidence also means setting and enforcing boundaries. Know what behaviors are acceptable and what is not, and communicate these limits calmly and assertively. For example, if she makes an unreasonable demand or challenges your energy, respond with composed firmness. I'm happy to continue this conversation, but let's keep it respectful. Boundaries combined with confidence demonstrate that your attention is earned and not freely given, which naturally encourages pursuit. Another critical aspect is decision-making under uncertainty. Women respect men who can remain composed and make choices even when the outcome is unknown. Whether planning a date, handling logistics, or navigating social situations, your ability to make confident, deliberate choices reinforces high-value energy and makes her more likely to chase your attention and approval. Finally, emotional composure underpins confident leadership. A man who stays calm when faced with challenges, teasing, or ego-driven behavior demonstrates mastery over his energy. Women instinctively respond to this stability because it reduces their need to assert control, increases psychological safety, and elevates attraction. Leading with confidence synthesizes all the previous psychological principles: perceived value, emotional contrast, curiosity, and selective availability. It signals that you are in command of yourself and the interaction without being controlling. Women naturally respond by pursuing, engaging, and investing in a man who radiates composed authority. Mastering confident leadership ensures that you don't chase, she chases. It positions you as a high-value man who attracts desire, respect, and attention effortlessly. By guiding interactions with clarity, composure, and decisiveness, you create a dynamic where she actively invests in winning your engagement and maintaining your interest. Making a woman chase you is not about manipulation, tricks, or games. It's about understanding psychology, projecting high-value energy, and leading interactions with confidence. By applying the 5 principles: high perceived value, emotional contrast, triggering curiosity, selective availability, and leading with confidence, you create a dynamic where she is naturally drawn to pursue you. These techniques are ethical, modern, and highly effective because they focus on enhancing your own attractiveness, composure, and self-respect rather than coercing or pressuring her. Perceived value establishes the foundation. Confidence, social competence, lifestyle richness, and mystery signal that you are a man worth noticing and investing in. Emotional contrast keeps interactions dynamic and stimulating, triggering curiosity and anticipation that makes her engagement exciting. Triggering curiosity deepens her mental and emotional investment by creating intrigue and encouraging her to discover more about you. Selective availability reinforces your independence and self-respect, making your attention something she wants to earn rather than take for granted. Finally, leading with confidence demonstrates authority, composure, and decisiveness, ensuring that you guide interactions while maintaining high-value energy. When these principles are applied consistently, the dynamic flips, you become the prize, and she becomes the pursuer. Women naturally respond to men who are emotionally intelligent, confident, and self-assured, and these techniques allow you to cultivate that presence while keeping interactions fun, engaging, and psychologically compelling. Mastering these 5 psychological tricks positions you as a man who commands respect, attracts desire, and inspires women to invest effort in chasing you, creating genuine connection and sustained attraction without ever resorting to manipulation.